It doesn't need to be complicated like some people might try to make it. They have the greatest shooting backcourt known to man. There has never been anybody, a backcourt in NBA history, that can shoot like these brothers, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. I don't give a damn if it's Dennis Johnson and downtown Freddie Brown or Gus Johnson. I don't give a damn if it's Magic and Michael Cooper. I don't give a damn, or Magic and Byron Scott, or Magic and Norm Nixon before Byron Scott. I don't give a damn if it's Isaiah Dumas. I don't care what you come up with, Stockton, Hornacek. It don't matter. There has never, and I repeat, ever been a backcourt that can shoot the way those brothers can shoot. It is that simple to me. And I'm not bringing in any other elements, Max. I know that Klay plays defense. I think that he's a great all-around player. He's a surefire first ballot future Hall of Famer, one of the top 5 shooters in NBA history as far as I'm concerned. I know all that. I'm strictly talking about the ability to shoot the basketball. Steph Curry, career 43% from three-point range. Klay Thompson, career like 41% from three-point range. When they miss, it is a shock if they're open. If they're contested, it's still a surprise that they miss. But when they're open, it's absolute shock that they miss shots. They're marksmen. And when you talk about the Los Angeles Lakers, think about Antonio. No matter what you think about the Joker, because he's great, and Jamal Murray and the depth and all this, here's the key. Anthony Davis gets to deal with that. Anthony Davis don't have no answer for Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. He can't be out there guarding those brothers. Somebody else has to do that. Somebody else has to follow them around when they're moving without the ball, to make sure they're not open. When a fast break takes place, all of a sudden you got to find them on the wings 30 feet away from the basket because they fire away. They are the greatest shooting backcourt I have ever seen. And to me, to knock off LeBron and AD, that's what it's going to take, and that's the only thing it's going to take. Been on the record, and I've stated this many times. Steph Curry ain't winning the championship without Klay Thompson, and Klay Thompson ain't winning the championship without Steph Curry. I've said that on numerous occasions. They are the greatest shooting backcourt known to man. I am not engaging in hyperbole. I am not exaggerating. I challenge anybody with any kind of basketball knowledge to talk to me about NBA basketball, which started in 1946 and became the NBA in 1950, 70 years ago. I challenge anyone to show me a better shooting backcourt than Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. They are the greatest in the history of basketball. And I challenge anybody to show me a greater shooter than Steph Curry. There is no one. No one. You might have better set shooters, but in terms of shooting, whether it's a set shot, it's off the dribble, from the right side, the left side, the wings, the key, it does not matter. This brother is the greatest shooter I've ever seen in my damn life. And when you consider that and you couple that with his movement without the basketball, and you combine that with the exceptional coaching of Steve Kerr and his staff, and the unselfishness of players feeding off the leadership of Steph Curry, this is the kind of element, Max, that I don't think he gets enough appreciation for. If you watch guys, it can be guys like Draymond Green and others who are in the lineup for 30-plus minutes a night. Or it could be somebody who's coming off the bench, averaging 8 to 10 minutes. You see behind-the-head passes and stuff. Guys are open, but they know instinctually to give the ball to that man. When you know basketball, you understand that people have belief in their own individual abilities. I have never seen someone, a leader, generate the level of selflessness that Steph Curry generates from his teammates. They all know instinctually when it comes to shooting the ball, if that brother got an inch free, give it to him. In the end, when you look at Klay Thompson, the lethalness of this guy's shooting range, how he can pull up from the parking lot, for crying out loud. I consider Steph Curry to be the greatest shooter I have ever seen in my life. When you can make the argument that Klay Thompson can give anybody in history a run for their money when it comes to catch and shooting or set shooting. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter I have ever seen in my life. I have never, in all my years of watching basketball, my apologies to Reggie Miller, the great Reggie Miller. My apologies to Ray Allen. My apologies to the Ricky Pierces of the world, the Dale Ellises of the world, the Steve Kerrs of the world, the John Paxsons of the world, the downtown Freddie Browns of the world, dating back to the 70s.
The Del Currys of the world.
The Del Currys of the world.
The Klay
Thompsons of the world. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter I have ever seen in my life, because it doesn't matter where he is on the floor. It doesn't matter whether he's spotting up, coming off of screens, pulling up off the dribble. It doesn't matter. The brother throws it up, and it's usually going in.
But what about Max's argument,
listen,
though, that Kyrie's a better closer?
Kyrie is a sensational player and a sensational closer. But Steph Curry is so phenomenal, it doesn't get to a point where you have to close most of the time because of the stuff that this dude spends the vast majority of 48 minutes demoralizing you. Because how do you defend a dude that literally is a threat from the moment he walks past half court? Do you understand that Steph Curry can say, this table right here could be half court, and the second this man touches the ball at half court,
he's a threat.
You're like this, oh no. Oh, no, I don't know because he might just pull up from there. And what I'm saying is, in today's NBA game, Kyrie is the dude, Max, if we talking Rutgers Park, if we talking West 4th Street, if we talking
Kyrie all day.
I mean, it's Kyrie all day, every day. He'll dance on you, the handle's nasty. He's all world. We get all of that. But Steph Curry is that dude in today's game where you have to shoot. I mean, shooting is just everything. This dude is the greatest to ever do it. That's my issue. If you look at some of the great shooters in NBA history, you know what? Do you realize that only 3 guys are ahead of Klay Thompson percentage-wise? 3 guys. Kyle Korver, Steph Curry, and Steve Nash, who was really a point guard that could shoot the 3, but really wasn't a 3-point shooter. So really you only have 2 bona fide 3-point shooters percentage-wise that's better than Klay Thompson, and Kyle Korver's been in the NBA since 2003. Klay Thompson just got back 8 years later in 2011. Klay Thompson is one of the greatest shooters this game of basketball has ever seen. He's 6'7", he could defend multiple positions, and not only that, he doesn't need the basketball. Let me say this to you with the blasphemous words that I just heard come out of your mouth. I believe that anytime Klay Thompson and Steph Curry are on the basketball court together and healthy, they are instant title contenders. That means next year. That don't mean 2 years from now. That means next year. You know why? Because their success isn't predicated on their athleticism. It's predicated on their marksmanship. And these are 2 of the elite marksmen this game has ever seen. I'm going to remind the world, listen, Reggie Miller is a Hall of Famer. Ray Allen is a Hall of Famer. I go back to the days of Dale Ellis, Del Curry, Ricky Pierce, downtown Freddie Brown in Seattle in the late 70s and early 80s. And I'm telling you, even with Larry Bird, those 2 dudes in Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are the 2 greatest shooters I've ever seen in my life. And I'm talking about the greatest, without question, the greatest backcourt, the greatest shooting backcourt the game of basketball has ever seen. And I'm saying to you next year, not 2 years from now, next year, let them stay on the basketball court healthy. Because you got to remember, Max, we ain't talking about just perimeter shots. You're talking about free throws, too. They don't miss. I'm going to say it again. We talk about Steph Curry. I understand that Steph Curry is the greatest shooter I've ever seen in my life. I also understand that Klay Thompson once beat him in the 3-point shooting contest at All-Star Weekend. I also understand that percentage-wise, Klay Thompson is a top 5 3-point shooter in the history of basketball. But did you see it? Did you see it? Did you see what transpired last night as Klay Thompson for the Golden State Warriors, the reigning 2-time defending NBA champions, put on a shooting clinic, a shooting exhibition, reminded everybody that he is one of the top 5 shooters in the history of basketball. That's right, I said it. If we took away the shot off the dribble and we simply talked about rolling off the screens of picks or set up shots, you could actually make the argument that Klay Thompson is a better shooter than Steph Curry. Klay Thompson has averaged better than 20 points per game on better than 40% shooting for the last 4 years. Klay Thompson is universally recognized as one of the greatest shooters this game has ever seen. Klay Thompson is a career 42% shooter from three-point range. Klay Thompson, listen, this kid is 6'7". He can defend three positions. No one talks about his defense nearly as much as they should. He's a career 85% shooter from the free throw line. He's a marksman extraordinaire, somebody that forces you to have to defend him the second you get past half court. But Steph and Klay Thompson, as I have said on many occasions, is the greatest shooting backcourt in the history of basketball. These dudes are sniper, you could call them sniper extraordinaires. They're snipers of another level, of another dimension. We ain't seen nothing like this. Now, revealing my age, I go back to the days, bro, of downtown Freddie Brown in Seattle. You understand me? Dale Ellis, Ricky Pierce. This is before Bird and these boys. You understand what I'm saying? The Ray Allens and Reggie Millers and cats like that came later. Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. You know Klay Thompson's a career 42% shooter from three-point range, 41.9% to be exact. You know that Steph Curry is a career 43.5% shooter from three-point range. Listen, I mean, I literally have in my mind Klay Thompson wondering whether or not, is he a better shooter than Ray Allen? Is he a better shooter than Reggie Miller? He might be number 2 all time behind Steph Curry. Ray Allen was special. Reggie Miller, nothing but love for my brother. But Klay Thompson might be the second greatest shooter in NBA history. It needs to be a discussion. And when you look at these brothers, there's shots from the perimeter, anywhere. There's shots from the free throw line. And I will remind everybody, you got to get into an offense, and as great as Kawhi Leonard is, you know what makes Kawhi great? I watched Kawhi the other day catch a pass. I mean, he caught it running to his right, and his body was this way. And somehow he was able to catch and square up all in one motion and hit the shot. It's beautiful. But he has to get to his spots. There is no spot for Klay. There is no spot. There is no spot. There is no spot for Steph Curry. Max, the second they walk past half court, there is no player, no two players in the history of basketball that can say this other than them two. The second they walk past half court, they're a threat. You literally have to extend your defense 10 feet to guard them. There is nothing to discuss. These two right here, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, the greatest shooting backcourt in the history of basketball. Right. And I want to state for the record what I've stated on many occasions. This is the greatest shooting backcourt in the history of basketball. I have never seen two guys in the same backcourt that can shoot from long range the way Steph Curry and Klay Thompson both can shoot. Both of them are career 41% or better shooters from three-point range, okay?
Steph Curry is what, Stephen A? What's Steph Curry? How would you describe him?
The greatest shooter I have ever seen.
Me too. That's the greatest shooter in the history of basketball. That's Steve Nash 2.0, a mobile artillery unit whose handles let him get anywhere and whose range is essentially unlimited. As you saw last night at the buzzer beater, I forgot if it was the half or the quarter, where he hits that ridiculously long-range three, and it wasn't a heave, it was a shot. The greatest shooter in the history of the game, Stephen A., who is basically unguardable because of his handles, is never doubled. Think about that. He's on a team where you can't double him. So that's what, watching that game yesterday, that's what you saw. You said, wait a minute, because of Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and Steve Kerr's coaching philosophy and offense, you can't send two guys at the greatest shooter who ever lived? Good luck with that.